Today I want to discuss life in UK. Quite interesting, and moving from Africa to UK, that change, the transition from Africa to UK is so big. There's so much that you learn when you come to UK, and some of the things that you never expected to when you are in Africa. Africa and England, there is a big gap in terms of many things, and some of these things you don't know them until you get to the point of experiencing them, like I did. Now, there are so many things that you'll get to know once you land in the UK and you begin to embrace them one by one. At the time you finish embracing them, you are totally transformed. You're a different person altogether. When I came to UK, one of the things that I came to discover, it is the strict work culture. In England, they have strict work culture. The culture whereby you work despite the position where you are, whether you're a manager, you're a supervisor, you're a team leader, you are who you are. The position that you hold is not important. The important thing is the responsibility on the level where you operate from. The responsibility that you have as a person in where you operate. For example, if you are a manager, in Africa we know that you dedicate everything is doing. For example, if you are a manager and you have all the staff, including the cleaners, at one given time, there is no difference between the manager and the cleaner, because the responsibilities the responsibilities that each one has can equally be done by another person. For example, if the cleaner is not around, you as a manager, you can do the cleaning. The strict work culture is impacted from the day you start working, and all through you must embrace it. We also have people are paid per hour. You are not paid by the end of the month. You are paid per hour. Per hour. Now, every minute counts for something. Every second counts for something. And you need to work and bring results. The key performance indicator rolls all around until the end of your shift. So from the time you start working in, the system will you find yourself, you don't have somebody standing next to you to tell you what to do. I also commend something. Payment per hour makes people active. Payment per hour improves performance. Payment per hour brings results. Payment per hour removes laxity. So it is important to understand, when you come to England, you don't come to sit in a swinging office chair waiting for time to go, then you go home. You must work and bring results. So the strict work culture is that you work per hour. And then the other thing is that we write using a black pen, not like Africa where we use blue pens, can use any type of pen. In England, we use black pens to write. Everywhere, anything that you want to write, you use black pens. That's quite amazing. You know, the first time when I came in, I was using any type of pen. Could find blue, use it. Black, use it. Until I was trained that uh, we use black pen all the time whenever you're writing something. Amazing. That's what quite amazing. And that culture instills discipline. The culture instills discipline and the coordination of things across everywhere. Yeah. Imagine if you can do the same thing in Africa, whereby we use black pens to write. Something very important. We'll do it. We'll do it one time. The other thing is that the first thing when you come in to work, you are trained properly. Whether you are coming in any level that you enter to work, whether you are in the beginning of your career or you are coming in as a professional, you are trained on the assignment. Whether you have 10 years experience on the same level you are working in, the moment you start a new task, you are trained properly. And on this part, you are trained a number of things, which in my years of working in Africa was never taught. Here, you are taught the acts, legislation acts. You are taught about labor laws. You are taught about everything as required in the systematic of legislation. And you become aware of everything that is required of you and what you expect in a case of any discrepancies, in a case of anything, you can easily follow up. So I was trained properly on the legislation acts on labor laws, and the labor laws are many. Actually, the first assignments when I landed in, I had to sign many papers that I've understood what is expected of my responsibility. It was a day long signing. Apart from signing on my job contract, the job contract is the last thing you sign. You start being trained on various healthy and safety, right? You are taught on various legislation laws concerning every assignment and what is expected to every employer. You are made aware of your rights as an employee. So they train you very well to understand all the key specific areas that you need to know before even you put your mind and you settle to know what you're supposed to be doing. So this one took me a long journey to understand myself in my career and all the things that I needed to know pertaining to my assignments as a professional. In fact, unlike in many African places, that they look at your CV, you look at your documents, and they see you are qualified, and then they do induction, which is done shortly to guide you on the assignments. Here it is different. Now, what they do, they guide you through a process to understand your mental awareness. They prepare your mind so that when you begin working, you know everything where it is. And then they teach you about the rules. They teach you about equality. All right. They teach you about this equality. It has an act. So they teach you about the Equality Act. That was a much transition from the things that we used to see in our country, in Africa. So you get to do almost the same assignment you are doing in Africa, but it is hyped in a way, the way it is organized, the way it is arranged. The planning part of it is amazing. And you look at it, the work environment is plus. And you enjoy being valued as an equal, competent staff. The other thing is that if you look at behind me, this is my house. Getting a house in England is a whole process. It's not a walk-in, you pay, and then you are given the keys. No, it is a process. You must get a referral. You must get recommendations. They must search through the systems. Here they must check whether you have the right to rent, the right to have a home. And that one takes a whole process whereby the whole process is must go through the government systems. They check whether you are legally allowed to rent, and then they also check whether the work that you do, they also get to get referral from your workplace, from your bosses, and they get to look at your income. So if your income, the income that you have should dictate the kind of home you are supposed to rent or they're supposed to buy. Let me use the word renting. Whether you can be able to pay your rent without struggling. So the first thing they asked me was, I was given a form, and the form was a bit lengthy. I filled the form, and then I emailed my employer to give me a referral recommendation that I work in a certain place, and in that certain place my salary was reflected. And then I submitted the same thing to the property agents, who also submitted to the government agency. The government agency looks at it, confirms from the system against your name to see whether you are legally allowed to live in the country. At the same time, whether you can be able to pay the rent comfortably. And then most properties, they have a tenant's tenure. That tenant's period of time you're supposed to stay there is supposed to be reviewed after a given period of time. In most cases, you find most properties, they expect you to live in that place. The minimum tenants period is 6 months. So you cannot come in today, you pay the rent, live 2 months, and then you say, oh, I want to walk out. No, that's not the case. You have a contract with the property owner and through the agents who manage the properties. So you sign a contract that the minimum tenance period is 12 months. And at the end of that period of time, 12 months, if it is 12 months, they do the property inspection. For example, if you look at my house here, it looks clean. So I have to maintain this house up to the time that I leave. Inspection means they come and check everything, the way they give you the house. And it's not the owners who come to inspect. It is not the agents who come to inspect. It is qualified inspectors. Now, those are among the few things that I noted when I moved in. In fact, it was easier for me to get the job. Uh, Getting a home, it took me a whole process. And I thank God that nevertheless, I succeeded, I managed. The next thing is about food. You and I know that the food in Africa and the food in Europe is quite different. And the food that is commonly consumed in Africa and the food that is consumed in Europe is different. But when I came in, my friends, they told me there is African food in Europe. There is African food in Europe. So I was taken to the markets where they sell the African foods. I tell you, friends, I got everything. The food you see in Africa is much available in Europe. Talk about any type of food you may want to eat. It is available in Europe. Everything, everything. Every country in Africa, from Nigeria to Ethiopia to Mozambique and South Africa, the people from Africa, they get all their food here. That is quite amazing. That's quite amazing. And the water in Europe tasted different from the water we normally drink in Africa. So the first few days when I came in, it was a bit challenging to me because the water was tasting different, and I got a bit disturbed. But after like a week or two, I was able to get clean, good water. I love it. I love it. Now, the other thing is about the weather. You see, now I'm wearing this very light because it is summer, and I'm recording this video. By the time I'm recording this video is a half 7 o'clock, and you can see there is much lighting because this is summer. So when I came in, it was the time of winter, and in my country, it was the hottest months. So when I came in, it was too cold. It was freezing. And I tried to wear many clothing. I used to wear like 3 to 4 layers of clothing, but still it was very cold. Still it was extremely cold. One of the situations when I recall, I feel like I was bit challenged. In fact, I was almost, to that moment when you feel like, this is not what I really expected. So I struggled through about 4 or 5 months during that time of winter. And when winter ended, when I finished the first 6 months, I started discovering good clothing. And I came to realize there is nothing like seasonal changes. There's nothing like winter or cold. The problem is the type of clothing that you wear. Those days when I was a new person in, I used to wear like 3 to 4 layers. But I discovered there are thermal clothing. You just wear like a t-shirt like this one, and you are okay. Okay, because it's thermal. It controls the heat in the body. And when I bought those clothing, I tell you today that I've enjoyed all the seasons, including the winter times. Even when it is -6 degrees, I enjoy the season. I enjoy the timings. I enjoy the timing. It has been very nice. Okay. So again, during the time of summer, like this year, we have had 2 occasions of heat waves. Very strong. Imagine when you move from -5 degrees and it moves to around 30 degrees. I know in Africa sometimes the temperatures sometimes goes beyond 30 degrees. But when you are used to negatives, even if it increases 10, it becomes so hot. So again, you enjoy the seasons. We are able to see things like now this time, enjoying it and feeling good about it. It is quite okay. It is quite okay. It is okay. It is right. It's okay. The other thing is about movement around, going to work in the morning, in the evening. In Africa, we have the public transport that is marginally available. But here, like the city where I am, public transport is very rare. Public transport is very rare. And again, you don't see many people walking around. So when I came in, I had a challenge because I moved in and I was expected to come and start working. Actually, I came in and within a week, I was supposed to report to work. So I used taxis going to work. I could hire the taxi, I could book in the taxi in the morning, take me to work. Actually, it was easier because I didn't know how to maneuver around. So the only thing I knew was the location of my workplace and the location of my home. So I used the taxi. It would take me to work and bring me back. And for a short period of time, like 1 or 2 weeks, I could be able to see around that because I was able to go with the taxi in the morning, come back in the evening, see the routes. When you move in 3 months, after staying 3 months, you apply for provisional driving license. And that provisional driving license, you can use it for a year from the time you get it. So for those who come from Commonwealth countries and also Europe, so you can apply and use that provisional driving license for about 1 year. After getting your job, the first thing you do is to enroll yourself for a driving test. That is the key number one thing you're supposed to do. Just do a driving test. The other thing is that in my country, you drive to the petrol station, to the gas station. There is an attendant at the gas station who will politely talk to you how much fuel do you want to put in your car. But when I came here, there is no attendant at the gas stations. So the first thing was to know how to put fuel to my car. And I struggled the first time. The second time I tried to do better, but eventually I managed to do it very well. So the other thing is that we use the Google Maps, that is we call it SatNav. SatNav helps you to know how to drive, the speed at which you are supposed to drive. SatNav can look at the whole location, the distance, the location you're driving to. It can also warn you if there's much traffic on the road. The other thing is that you must be very careful whatever that you do. Whatever you do, you must be very careful because people Don't tolerate the nonsense that you do in Africa. Yeah, that you say, this is my house, I have the right to do everything. You shout in your house with the loud music, disturbing the neighborhood. Here you must be very careful. Respect your neighborhood, respect your neighbors, and be able to live peacefully with everybody. They don't tolerate nonsense. You must be very careful on everything you do. And for these few things that I've discovered here, I want to end my video by saying this country called England is amazing. It's a wonderful country, good country, peaceful to live, and love everything that I see around. I enjoy seeing what I'm saying. I want to end my video here. If you have any comment, any suggestions, you can write to me. And before I end my video, please share my video, like it, subscribe, and leave a comment for me. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye.